Today's a WRAL weather alert day. Storms in our far southern states are likely to lift northward across our area this evening. I'll show you the timeline and what to expect.
Anti-ICE protests. Tensions in L.A. are high after President Trump deployed the National Guard for crowd control. The clashes in what police are calling unlawful assembly.
And downtown Raleigh road closure, the area around the state capitol, could be more difficult to navigate today. What you need to know about a multi-week project getting underway.
And the grand finale. Tonight, what soccer fans have been waiting for. The excitement for this evening's $1 million matchups at the soccer tournament in Cary. 1 million big ones on the lines for both the men's and women's team. Very curious to see who comes out victorious. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on this Monday morning. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey on this WRAL weather alert day. Sunny skies now, but that is going to change later on. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out on the weather patio tracking a storm system right now.
Comfortable right now, but we will get really hot today. We're not likely to see these storms, of course, not now, not even during the evening commute, but eventually those storms down to the south do lift up across our area. So we'll kick off Futurecast here at around 5 o'clock this evening. We start to see the clouds thickening up, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, we begin to see some storms developing down to the south. There's 8:45, and it's getting, a little tricky down around Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Clinton. At that point, those could be some severe storms. And then notice closer to 11 or 12, there's some storms that are back to the west that could roll through closer to midnight into the early morning hours. Isolated chance in the north, scattered for the south. That's a look at our severe threat for today. The biggest threat will be wind damage, and again, it's likely to happen this evening to overnight. It's nice and quiet out there right now, though. Taking a live look at downtown Raleigh, nothing but blue sky, 77. The dew point's way up at 67, so it does feel sticky. We'll see a high of around 90 degrees with a heat index. It's going to feel hotter than that, and that'll be the trend for much of this week. I'll show you the heat index through Friday coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL traffic center, real trouble spot on those I-40 westbound lanes because of this crash on I-40, I-440 interchange there in southeast Raleigh. You can see first responders working this crash scene. A couple of lanes are closed as a result, and that bumper-to-bumper traffic stretches all the way back past Highway 70. You're looking at a 30-minute delay. So really and truly, you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning. You might want to take Highway 70 as an alternate route. The other trouble spot, we're seeing those southbound lanes coming in from I-87 in Knightdale. Here's what you're looking at. These are the southbound lanes coming toward us this morning. It's moving, albeit rather slowly. So depending on where you're headed, if you're in a rush, you might want to get off on Pool Road there at Smithfield Road, get over to Pool Road and work your way around the slowdowns we're seeing, because here's what we're looking at. You're looking at a 29-minute delay coming in from Johnston County. It was 30 minutes a little bit ago. 4 minutes coming in from Wake Forest, and just a 6-minute delay coming in from Knightdale this morning. So all times, nothing that's going to make you late except for the I-40 westbound lanes, but you know the drill. Over in the Bull City, very little to no delays heading into the Bull City this morning. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Efforts to control protests over immigration enforcement are underway in Los Angeles. In fact, the National Guard troops and mounted police fired tear gas at protesters. And these were people gathered outside an ICE detention facility. Now, there are reports of looting and several burning cars, as you just saw on your screen. LAPD declared the protest an unlawful assembly. The department says fireworks and cinder block pieces struck officers, and roughly 300 National Guard members are in the city. That's because President Donald Trump ordered the deployment of 2,000 troops. And this morning, we're learning Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has more than 500 active duty Marines on standby to intervene. California's governor and LA's mayor opposed the deployment order. They blame the Trump administration for escalating tensions.
What we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic.
Now, at last check, 56 total arrests have been made.
This morning, work begins in downtown Raleigh that could cause issues for your morning commute. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live on East Morgan Street this morning. And Kelsey, the construction starting today. It's part of a bigger plan to improve traffic flow across Wake County.
Yes, Michelle, it's set to start in less than an hour now. So starting today, your morning commute here in downtown Raleigh may look a little different. Part of East Morgan Street here is closed, and Raleigh police have already put this sign out telling drivers where they are not allowed to park. Take a look at this map that shows you the area that will be impacted by this closure. 2 travel lanes, 1 bike lane, and street parking will be closed on East Morgan Street. The section of East Morgan Street between South Wilmington and South Blunt Street is going to be what's affected. The road will be closed every day between 9 and 4 until July 3rd. Now, all of this is a part of the Capital Improvement Project. We've been staying on top of what this project could mean for you, from possible tolls to road improvements. So you can follow our coverage on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Got to show you this video now. Today, 2 men accused of shooting 6 people outside a Sanford bar are expected in court. And I want to show you right here the security video that you're only going to see on WRAL. So this is video from the east side of Joe's Auto Repair just before 2 a.m. yesterday. This is directly behind Schoolies on East Trade Street. You can see people running away from the bar, and then 2 men crouch behind the back corner of the bar there. One of them appears to raise a weapon in his hand, and then both disappear into an alley. A stray bullet even hit a car at Joe's Auto.
It is kind of scary. A last bullet could kill somebody.
Sanford police say this all started as a fight outside the bar. 6 people were hurt, and 2 of them had serious injuries. Sean Matthews Jr. and Urbano Garcia Sanchez were arrested after all this happened.
1 person was shot and killed in Fayetteville. Police say the shooting happened yesterday morning at the Liberty Square Apartments. That's on Dornock Drive. The person who was shot died at the scene. We are working to find out the name of the person killed and if any police have any information on the shooter.
This morning, people from 12 countries are officially banned from entering the U.S., and that's because of the ban President Donald Trump put in place on countries mostly in Africa and the Middle East, among others. In addition to those 12 countries, 7 countries are facing visa restrictions. This includes Cuba, Laos, and Venezuela. There are no direct flights at RDU to or from countries part of that ban, and this is creating challenges for immigrants living in the Triangle who are no longer able to see their families overseas.
Hoping to be able to see my parents, my relative, my siblings after 3-4 years. So with this ban, need to wait like maybe many more years.
The ban does not apply to people from the list of banned countries who have green cards, and the same is true for people living in the U.S. with a visa.
It's the big showdown in Cary tonight among some of the best soccer players. The gates to WakeMed Soccer Park open in about 9 hours. And WRAL's Laura Levine is there this morning ahead of 2 matchups, each for $1 million. Laura, there's a lot of excitement over the soccer tournament finals. This is it.
There is. Good morning, Michelle. Star power is on display. Tonight is the finals of the TST. And here at the WakeMed Soccer Park, where there's been some really intense matchups over the last few days, it all comes down to this. Tens of thousands of fans have packed WakeMed Soccer Park over the last few days, rain or shine, to catch the action in person. These fans have also been able to meet players and enjoy the overall atmosphere of this major event. The final 2 teams that will play tonight for the women's at 7 p.m. is Bumpy Pitch FC versus the U.S. women's team. And for men's at 8:30 p.m., Bumpy Pitch FC versus Palmas de Alabama. And looking to defend their 2024 women's tournament title, the U.S. women have reloaded with more U.S. women's national team stars and 5 former players from UNC. That's really important to mention. And then Bumpy Pitch FC is the first team in TST history to have both the men's and women's in the final. We're going to, of course, watch catch all of the action tonight and see who takes home that $1 million prize. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Cary.
Fayetteville city leaders will meet tonight to discuss a newly enacted youth curfew. The Youth Protection Ordinance restricts anyone 16 and under from being out between the hours of 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. There are exceptions, though, for minors accompanied by parents or for teenagers with jobs. Leaders are expected to address how to implement the new rules and specific rollout plans with law enforcement.
The Durham County Board of Commissioners is expected to vote on a $1 billion budget proposal tonight. The county manager put forth a budget proposal last month. It included an increase to the county tax rate, a pay raise for county employees, and a $10 million increase to the school district budget. Tonight's board meeting is scheduled for 7 o'clock at the county government building on East Main Street in Durham.
Millions of gallons of drinking water lost every single day.
Does it hurt your heart a little bit to hear 4 million gallons a day?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have that be 0 gallons a day. I mean, ideally.
Tonight at 6, WRAL Investigates shares the staggering numbers we found and what can be done to fix it.
More construction on Falls of Neuse Road in Raleigh could start tonight. Southbound paving work near the Neuse River Bridge will begin tonight, weather permitting. After that's done, teams will begin paving the northbound lanes. A full road closure will be in place from 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. tomorrow. Electronic message boards will be installed to explain the detours.
Your time is 8:10. Aid ship halted. The Israeli military stopped the ship with supplies for Gaza. The high-profile activists aboard that boat.
Plus, a Tennessee plane crash. Several people hospitalized after a skydiving plane fell out of the sky. What we're learning about their conditions this morning.
Our threat for severe storms is really late today. Take a look at this. It's likely to be after dinner time and then just a 50% chance. I'll show you what to expect and when it arrives where you are. 8:13. It's a nice start to the day. As a matter of fact, it's going to be dry for us for most of the day today. The storms are going to be coming from the Gulf Coast, and those are a long way from us right now. They will start to lift northward up into our area as we get into this evening. So it's likely to be after dinner time before we really see much activity out of this system. So just keep that in mind. We'll continue to track it. We have, of course, a hot day in our forecast. Our high temperatures this afternoon are likely to climb up into the low 90s. This is a look at our hour-by-hour rain chances. Again, 7, 8, 9 o'clock is when we're most likely to end up seeing that chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. And of course, that threat will be with us overnight and again into the day tomorrow. The more rain we see tomorrow morning, the better chance that we won't see any severe storms. It does look like wind damage would be our biggest threat with this system.
Happening now in the WRAL traffic center. We've got some good news to report. That crash on the I-40, I-440 interchange there in southeast Raleigh that was causing this huge delays on I-40 westbound. It's off to the shoulder of the road. That's the exit-only lane that spits you onto the northern loop, the belt line, those westbound lanes of 440 this morning. So that's the good news, but we're still seeing some lingering delays as a result of this crash stretching all the way back to Highway 70 this morning. So if you're listening to us on 101.5 HD3, it's saying a zero situation that's happening there because traffic is beginning to move again. But I'm guarantee it's about probably like a 5-minute delay coming in from Johnston County this morning.
All right, Ken, thank you. Volunteers on the Madleen Freedom Flotilla say Israeli forces took them against their will. The group made that claim in videos released. This happened after the group attempted to get help to the people in Gaza. In an earlier post, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition says the ship was under assault in international waters. Among the crew on board, environmental activist Greta Thunberg.
If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Israel has repeatedly vowed to stop the aid boat from reaching Gaza.
Israel's military says it has recovered the body of one-time Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar. They report finding Sinwar's body in a tunnel beneath a hospital in southern Gaza. And Israel targeted Sinwar when it launched a massive airstrike on the hospital May 13th. Sinwar is the younger brother of former Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, and he was killed last October.
A major egg recall has grown to nearly 2 million cartons of eggs. The August egg company's brown eggs have made dozens of people sick across several states. So far, the outbreak has sickened 79 people, with at least 21 who were hospitalized. The eggs have sell-by dates ranging from March 4th to June 19th. The cartons were mainly sold in Safeway and Walmart stores. No deaths have been reported.
Several people are in the hospital this morning because of a skydiving plane crash. And this happened in Tennessee yesterday afternoon. That plane was carrying more than a dozen people, and it crashed not long after takeoff. At least 4 people were admitted to the hospital, and one of them is in critical condition. But at last check, no deaths reported in the crash.
A widespread storm moved through parts of the plains on Sunday night. It was a derecho. And what is that to begin with? Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us how these danger storms form in today's Ask the Meteorologist. Chris.
Yeah, so a derecho is just a widespread windstorm. And according to the National Weather Service, the damage has to extend at least 240 miles. And so someone could argue that that's what happened in the plains last night, as you saw damage reports stretching from the Kansas-Oklahoma border all the way down to East Texas. This is what it looked like on radar, and you can just see how nasty that line of storms was. Oftentimes you see that bowing line. We'll talk about how that forms here in just a minute. But in terms of whether or not we see them, it happens oftentimes in June and in July when you have this dome of high pressure or heat, and then storms that form on the very outer edge of that in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, and they just come diving down from the northwest. I covered a number of those in Virginia, and those can get really nasty at times. But in terms of that bowing shape that it gets, you get the hot air ahead of it, right? It felt like 105 in Dallas yesterday, and then the rain-cooled air behind it. That causes the air to rush into the back edge of that storm and create that path of really gusty wind. We're talking about when they happen most and where they happen most right now on WRAL.com.
All right, Chris, thank you. Today is the first of Wake County's free HIV testing days. Throughout June, 5 community events will be held, providing free screenings and HIV prevention education. National HIV Testing Day is June 27th. Today's event runs from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Southern Regional Center in Fuquay-Varina.
And in Robinson County, the summer meals program begins today. Free breakfast and lunch will be provided to anyone under 18 at participating schools. Breakfast is available from 8 to 9 a.m. and lunch from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. People gathered at Durham Central Park to fight hunger. We're talking more than 60 groups that came together to host the 4th annual Durham World Hunger Day yesterday. Durham County's food security coordinator says the county has a 12% food insecurity rate, give or take. She says this event was about raising awareness and connecting people with resources.
Many places across the country, people are having more trouble accessing food. Food prices are going up. They might have some trouble with employment. It's often an invisible issue. So unless you're experiencing hunger, I think it's really hard to understand that it still is so prominent.
The people behind this event say there are always opportunities to volunteer for the cause. That could be helping with a food bank or even advocating for different assistance programs.
All right, let's get outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the patio out there. She's been enjoying the sunshine all morning long, giving us a live look around town. It's nice right now, Elizabeth.
It is. As long as you're in the shade, it feels very comfortable. Now, you step out into that sun with the humidity, and that is a combination that's really going to make it feel, pretty uncomfortable, especially later this afternoon. But you can see how nice and clear it is. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant, and we're seeing sunshine everywhere. I'm tracking some storms developing along the Gulf Coast right now. Those will lift north up into our area as we get into this evening. So it's going to be late. Those will continue overnight tonight and into the day tomorrow. Today will be pretty hot because we don't see those storms until maybe after sunset. That front will start to move toward us, and eventually that front moves across our area during the day tomorrow. So that continues our chance for storms. Let's jump right on out to 5 o'clock this evening, and you can see the clouds begin to thicken up a little bit. By 8 to 9 o'clock, there are a few scattered cells that pop up in our southern counties. There's a 1 a.m. So you can see, even around, say, midnight to early morning hours, there could still be some lingering storms that could produce some wind damage. This is 5 a.m. tomorrow. Could be a quick sprinkle, a little light shower. Shouldn't be anything terribly heavy for the morning commute. But the more rain we see tomorrow morning, the lesser chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. But here's 4:45, 5 o'clock, and then it is a possibility. It's a level 1 risk for tomorrow, but a level 2 risk for today in our southern counties. Wednesday, it looks like we get a break, and so no severe threat there. Today, our southern counties are in that level 2 risk, so that means scattered severe storms are possible, nothing widespread. Our best chance of rain comes overnight tonight at 60% and then 50% Tuesday. After that, Thursday and Friday are just a 20 to 30% chance, and it's really more of a heat issue for the end of the week. How much rain? On average, a quarter to half an inch, but there could be some pockets where we see some much heavier rain than that. So today is a WRAL weather alert day. It's going to feel like low to mid 90s this afternoon, and then that heat index really climbs for us Thursday and Friday. I'll show it to you coming up.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We've got some good news to report as a result of this crash on I-40, 440 interchange there in Southeast Raleigh. It's really off to the shoulder in the clearing phase, to be honest with you. Right now, you can still see that's the exit-only lane that spits you onto the northern loop of the Beltline down around the Pool Road area. So things are definitely moving, but we're still seeing the lingering delays, even though it's off to the shoulder of the road. So here's what it looks like on a live traffic map this morning, all the way back to Garner is what we're looking at. So if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, you're looking at a 14-minute delay. So really and truly take Highway 70 as an alternate route coming into the capital city so you can avoid that slowdown. Things have definitely gotten a lot better on I-87 in those southbound lanes, which is really good news. Also, things have improved quite a bit on US 164 coming in out of the Try and Carry Apex area. Things are looking really good for you this morning as you're about to head out. In terms of other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. You're just looking at a 30-minute delay on I-40 westbound coming in from Johnston County. But again, that's getting a little better. We just showed you about a 14-minute delay.
All right, thanks, Ken. New travel ban. Restrictions are in place today, expanding what people from which countries cannot enter the U.S. We're taking a look at what nations are on that list.
Plus, lanes closed in Raleigh. A month-long project gets underway in downtown today. How you can get around the construction.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up-to-the-minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio showing us beautiful blue sunshine skies. But that's going to change later on today, Elizabeth.
It will. It's going to be a while. The storms that we're tracking are way down on the Gulf Coast right now, but they will lift northward as we get through the day today. Notice we really don't start to see that ramping up until around 6 to 8 p.m. The highest chance is going to be not until around 10 or 11 and lasting into the early morning hours tomorrow. Wind damage will be our biggest threat. A small chance for flooding and hail with this particular system. It is pretty out here, especially if you're in the shade. That's a live look at the gardens. It's going to be a hot day today. We're going to see a high temperature around 4 or 5 o'clock at around 90 degrees. People are going to be headed out to the soccer tournament at that point. And then, of course, late in the evening as the games are winding up, there could be a few scattered storms.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. That crash we've been monitoring in Southeast Raleigh near the I-40, I-440 interchange is off to the shoulder of the road, but you're still seeing some lingering delays in that area. That's the exit-only lane that spits you onto the northern loop of the Beltline, those westbound lanes, if you will. This backup is just stretching all the way back to the Garner area, Highway 70. So if you're coming in from Garner or Johnston County, Highway 70 is your best bet. Right now, you're looking at a 10-minute delay, but if you're in a rush, need to get somewhere quickly, Highway 70 is your best bet.
All right, Ken, thank you. Fayetteville city leaders will meet this evening to discuss a newly enacted youth curfew. The Youth Protection Ordinance restricts anyone 16 and under from being out from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Leaders hope to settle how to implement the new rules and specific rollout plans with law enforcement. And survivors and community leaders set to demand stronger disaster recovery support. The NC Inclusive Disaster Recovery Network hosting a gathering at the state legislature at 2 p.m.
Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We have storms that are developing near the Gulf Coast that will arrive here late this evening. I'll show you the timeline.
Showdown in downtown L.A. Reports of tear gas, looting, and a growing military presence in L.A. This morning, a look at protesters clashing with law enforcement and the National Guard.
And a heads up for drivers, a month-long road closure just started in downtown Raleigh, how it could impact your commute.
And it all ends tonight. After a weekend of big crowds and big soccer plays, a championship game will decide who takes home $1 million. That's $1 million for one team, $1 million for the other team. Certainly an exciting time as you're waking up with us here on this WRAL Weather Alert Day, Monday morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, we're nice right now, so a lot of people might be saying it's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Why? Well, Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL Weather patio to explain that storm system that's heading our way.
That's right. We'll take a look here, and you can see those storms firing up there along the Gulf Coast. That's going to ride up into our viewing area as we get through the day today, or I should say the evening tonight. So it is going to feel very comfortable in terms of we're not likely to see much rain until much later on. So we're going to jump on in and start at around 5 p.m. And at that point, we're still dry. So the evening commute does not look wet. But then by 8 or 9 o'clock, we start to see a few cells popping up in our southern counties. And if we see any of those cells producing heavy rain or winds that reach severe criteria, then of course our weather alert day verifies. And that's what we're looking at. It's going to be very late and probably mostly our southern counties. But notice at around 11 o'clock, more rain starts to develop back to the west, and that could continue into the early morning hours tomorrow. So isolated storms in our northern counties, scattered storms in our southern counties. Scattered is a little more widespread. So our main threat would be wind damage, and the timing would be this evening. Right now, it's beautiful here in the gardens if you're in the shade. If not, it's starting to feel pretty hot. It's really humid out here already. 77 is our temperature. We'll see a high of 90 this afternoon. And of course, it will feel hotter than that with the heat index. I'll show you coming up.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. That crash on I-40, I-440 interchange in Southeast Raleigh has cleared. It's off to the shoulder of the road, but we're still seeing some lingering delays in that area. That delays stretching all the way back to Garner this morning. You can see all the way back to Highway 70. Still that lingering delay as a result of that crash. Right now, you're looking at a 7-minute delay if you're coming in from Johnston County between Highway 42 and the Beltline this morning. So things are getting better. At one point, it was up to like a 30-minute delay. So things are definitely getting better. But if you're in a rush this morning, Highway 70 is definitely your best bet. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown coming in from Apex this morning. You're looking at a 4-minute delay between Highway 55 and US 1 and 64 this morning. So nothing, again, that's going to make you late. In terms of other major routes, here look at US 1 and 64 and Tryon Road. So traffic is flowing nicely. So once you get past that little bit of a slowdown around Highway 55, it's clear sailing all the way to the capital city. As far as other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. You're looking at maybe a 3-minute delay either way, and that's at Highway I-40 westbound lanes. You're looking at an 8-minute delay right now. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Breaking news: protests against immigration raids intensify in downtown Los Angeles. Here's what we know this morning. National Guard troops and mounted police units fired tear gas at protesters who were gathered outside an ICE detention facility through the third night of protests. We've seen reports of looting and several burning cars. More than 300 National Guard members are on the ground after President Trump ordered that deployment. More than 500 active duty Marines on standby if necessary. California Governor Gavin Newsom voiced his concerns over Trump's move.
And the worst part, he completely lied. He said in a tweet that everything's now safe, everything's fine. Is that the case, Mr. Trump? He said because he deployed the National Guard. The Guard hadn't even been deployed when he said this. It's Orwellian, simply lying to people. Unconstitutional, illegal act, his mess, we're trying to clean it up.
Newsom plans to sue the Trump administration over the move to deploy the National Guard. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says bringing in the National Guard created intentional chaos.
Just a heads up, Raleigh drivers, construction will be underway starting this morning in downtown. As Kelsey Coffey explains, this project plays into a bigger plan for improving traffic in Wake County.
Starting today, your commute in downtown Raleigh may look a little different. Part of East Morgan Street is closing, and Raleigh police have already put these signs out telling drivers when they're not allowed to park here. Take a look at this map that shows you the area that will be impacted by this closure. 2 travel lanes, 1 bike lane, and street parking will be closed on East Morgan Street. The section of East Morgan Street between South Wilmington and South Blunt Street is what's affected. The road will be closed every day between 9 and 4 until July 3rd. All of this is a part of the Capital Improvement Project. Now, we've been staying on top of how this project could affect you, from possible tolls to road improvement. You can follow that coverage on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
This morning, people from 12 countries are officially banned from entering the United States. And that's because of the ban President Trump put in place on countries in Africa and the Middle East, among others. In addition to those 12 countries, 7 countries are facing visa restrictions. This includes Cuba, Laos, and Venezuela. There are no direct flights at RDU to or from countries part of that ban.
The soccer tournament championship games are today. WRAL's Laura Levine is at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary, where some of the best players are competing for a $1 million prize.
Tonight is the finals for the TST, and after a few days of some pretty intense matchups here on the soccer field, well, it all goes down to this. Tens of thousands of fans have packed this area to catch these teams in action this weekend, rain or shine. These fans have also been able to meet players and just really enjoy the overall atmosphere of this major event in Cary. The final two teams that will play tonight for the women's will be at 7 p.m. It's Bumpy Pitch FC versus the U.S. women's team. And for men's at 8:30 p.m., Bumpy Pitch FC versus Pumas de Alabama. Looking to defend their 2024 women's tournament title, U.S. women have reloaded with more U.S. women's national team stars and 5 current players from the University of North Carolina, UNC. And then Bumpy Pitch FC is the first team in TST history to have a men's and women's team advance to the $1 million championship game. The TST organizers say that there's always a plan B, weather permitting. They will delay the game if there is thunder or lightning in the area at least 30 minutes and move fans from the stands. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Cary.
Top U.S. and Chinese leaders are holding trade talks in London today. Just last week, President Trump had a call with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is participating in the negotiations. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer are with him. For now, U.S. duties on Chinese imports are at 30% instead of 145%, and China's rate is down to 10% from 125%.
Survivors and community leaders are set to demand stronger disaster recovery support, and that's why they plan to gather outside the state legislative building this afternoon. The event will highlight unmet recovery needs in Western North Carolina, and the goal is to urge state lawmakers to invest more in disaster recovery systems just as hurricane season begins. The NC Inclusive Disaster Recovery Network is hosting this gathering, and it begins at 2 p.m. And in Western North Carolina, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers removed more than 7 million cubic yards of debris. This is debris that was on right-of-way to waterway and private property.
We've been here for a while, and we're going to continue to be here. So we're going to complete the missions and the taskings that we've been given by FEMA and the state. But there's other agencies, as our piece of that mission works its way out or peters out, there's other groups that will come in behind us so that it's a continuous stream of recovery through the federal and state families.
When the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers completes its mission, the hope is the public knows who to go to when they need help.
An 11-year-old girl is recovering after being shot in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured the scene playing out just outside the Durham Rescue Mission's gates Saturday night. Staff at the shelter say the injured girl was with other people who parked a car nearby and came inside asking for help. That's when staff say they called police. Police tell us the girl is expected to live. Authorities have not said what led up to that shooting or if there have been any arrests. A 3-year-old was airlifted to the hospital after being bitten by an animal. Moore County Sheriff Ronnie Fields says the bite happened in Hoke County. The child's parents drove them to the Aberdeen Fire Department in Moore County, where they were airlifted to the hospital. WRAL is working to learn more about what kind of animal was involved and the condition of the child.
Covering Wake County, the town of Zebulon officially posted its job opening for police chief. The deadline to apply is June 23rd, and then the town will start reviewing applications on July 11th. Now, this is happening as several people in key leadership roles have stepped down in the town. Former Zebulon Police Chief Jackie Boykin resigned from her position in December, and that was after 4 years on the job. Just a reminder, it is graduation week. Wake County Public Schools. Ceremonies run today through the 18th, and they'll be held at the Raleigh Convention Center, Embassy Suites in Cary, and the Martin Marietta Center downtown. For the full schedule with times and location, you can head to the Wake County Public Schools website.
Bugs biting yet? Before you grab just any spray, 5 on Your Side has the top-rated repellents to keep those mosquitoes away.
And storm gaining strength. A look at the storm churning off Mexico's coast, and it could mean trouble for parts of that area.
And we'll give you a live look at a beautiful sunny Clinton this morning from the WRAL Live Cam Network. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner explains our chances for afternoon storms.
We do have the chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms, mainly this evening after dinner time. You can see it, some of the southern states really seeing some of those storms ramping up. That starts to lift up into our area, but pretty late today. So obviously it's beautiful out here on the patio currently. We'll see nice dry conditions through the evening commute. But once we hit 7 or 8 o'clock, our chances of rain begin to go up. Notice if we just hit 50% by around 10 or 11 or midnight, that's going to be our best chance. But still, that means only about half of us will be seeing storms at that point. We'll walk through with Futurecast coming up in just a little bit. Look at the gardens behind me. It is lovely. You know, it is the azalea garden, but this time of year, it's also the hydrangea gardens. The hydrangeas are in full bloom and will be for most of the summer. Our temperatures are currently mainly in the mid-70s, so it's warm and it's sticky. If you're planning outside exercise today, get to it as quick as you can. We hit 90 degrees at 4 o'clock, and it'll feel more like 93 or 94.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Boy, that crash completely cleared now. That the one I was telling you about in I-40, I-440 interchange in Southeast Raleigh. You can see nothing showing up, traffic moving nicely, but we still see some lingering delays as a result of it. Right now, you can see it right here, stretching all the way back to Highway 70. So if you're in a rush this morning, you might want to take Highway 70 as an alternate route. But really and truly, you're just looking at a 3-minute delay if you're coming in from Garner and Johnston County.
All right, thank you, Ken. North Carolina teachers and students told WRAL school cell phone policies often don't work. They say those policies are not consistently enforced classroom to classroom. And they also argue the policies are, let's face it, easy to get around and don't have clear consequences, according to them. Well, despite that, state lawmakers and local school boards are trying to crack down on cell phones. The concern is the devices are distracting in class. WRAL went inside several schools and talked with principals, teachers, and students, and you can find out about what they said works and doesn't work to keep students off phones. That's in the education section of WRAL.com.
It's bug season, and let's face it, nobody wants to be a snack for mosquitoes. That's why 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur is here to share the top-rated insect repellent. Consumer Reports just released its latest insect repellent ratings. So before you head outside, here's what you need to know to keep those bites at bay.
To find the very best insect repellent, Consumer Reports tested 50 products, but only recommends 20 of those. Among the standouts are Ben's Tick and Insect Repellent Wipes and Wilderness Formula Pump. Both earned top marks in offering excellent protection against mosquitoes and ticks.
We currently test most repellents against only mosquitoes. In past years, we found that repellents that worked well against mosquitoes also tended to work well against ticks. And in a small recent test we performed, repellents with DEET performed well against ticks.
Not a fan of the chemical DEET? Don't worry. Repel Lemon Eucalyptus was the best performing DEET-free option. It uses something called OLE, or oil of lemon eucalyptus. The products that contained 30% OLE or 20% picaridin worked effectively, though not all work as well as the best DEET products. But Consumer Reports does recommend staying away from, quote, natural repellents, as they earned dismal scores in their tests. And how you apply insect repellent really makes a big difference in how effective it can be. So remember to apply after sunscreen on bare skin or over your clothes, never underneath your clothing. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Now that it feels like summer, it's time for some backyard barbecues. But before you fire up that grill, it is so important to keep food safety in mind. Dr. Donald Dunford says one way to help prevent food poisoning is by washing your hands before handling any food. He also recommends keeping raw meat away from produce during preparation to avoid cross-contamination. Raw meat needs to be thoroughly cooked as well.
As we enter the summer and we're having those picnics, we're having those barbecues, we do have to think about, not just safe food preparation, but safe food, handling and storage. So you really don't want things sitting out on a picnic table for long periods of time. If they're sitting there, that's going to allow the chance for bacteria to start to propagate, and that could increase the risk for people getting sick from it.
A meat thermometer, also super nice. There are certain groups considering higher risk. They include young children, pregnant women, the elderly, and individuals who are immunocompromised.
The Big Rock Blue Marlin Fishing Tournament gets going today. Teams will spend 6 days on the water off Morehead City's coast. The hope is to get the first catch and the biggest catch. The action started over the weekend with the Kelly Wagner Lady Angler Tournament. Carter Can won the tournament and the more than $100,000 prize. A new rescue drama stars Matthew McConaughey, and a popular spy thriller hits streaming platforms this week. Douglas Hyde has those stories and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
There are 23 kids who are stranded. Is there anybody in the area that can pick them up?
Matthew McConaughey is a school bus driver trying to get kids to safety in the upcoming rescue drama, The Lost Bus. America Ferrera also stars in the film, which was inspired by a deadly 2018 wildfire in California. It's written and directed by Paul Greengrass, who did award-winning work on the 9/11 drama United 93. The Lost Bus debuts in select theaters and on Apple TV Plus this fall. Fans of Rami Malek and The Amateur can take a deep dive into the box office hit this week. The spy thriller hits digital streaming platforms Tuesday with deleted scenes and a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the film. The Amateur will also be released on Blu-ray and 4K UHD on July 8th. Morgan Wallen's new album may be called I'm the Problem, but he's definitely not a problem with music fans. The country star's latest effort has now topped the Billboard 200 album chart for the third straight week. Also charting in the top 5 is Miley Cyrus, whose Something Beautiful debuted at number 4. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
And time for a look at what's trending. A loose animal getting a lot of attention was finally flown home.
Yeah, we told you about a missing zebra in Tennessee last Tuesday. Yesterday, the escapee, named Zebra Ed by people online, was found. The unofficial town mascot airlifted by helicopter back to its owner.
I mean, it was a pretty big search. I mean, they even had to shut down the highway when he was eventually seen there. Businesses in Rutherford County, Tennessee were even making memes on social media about the whole thing. But you see it, I'm wondering, like, what's going through that animal's head? Like,
I don't know.
Someone please get me down.
Well,
but
is he dizzy? Because he's spinning quite a bit in the air. But nonetheless, he's safe, so that's good.
Poor little creature there.
All right, let's get outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio for us this morning, tracking what's going to be quite some rain later on today.
Yeah, we're going to see evening and overnight showers and thunderstorms. Most of the daylight hours are going to be nice and dry, but we're following some of these storms that are down to the south. So Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, seeing some of these storms, and eventually they lift on up into North Carolina. We're not even going to watch this until starting at 5:30. At that point, we begin to see the clouds thickening up, and a few cells in our southern counties around 8 or 9 o'clock begin to develop. We'll walk through, and you can see just to the west at that point, some showers and storms that may roll in overnight and into early tomorrow morning. So how do you plan around it? Well, most of the daylight hours will be dry. We'll see scattered storms developing after 6, 7, 8 o'clock, especially in our southern counties. A few of those could be strong to severe with some wind damage. This is a great day to go ahead and download or update your WRAL weather app. It's redesigned and you can watch the radar, greatly updated radar. It'll show you where the rain is. You can also set alerts to show you when rain, thunderstorms, and lightning or severe weather is headed your way. For today, we have a level 1 risk in the north, a level 2 risk in the south. So it's a WRAL weather alert day. And then tomorrow, it's a level 1 risk between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Right now, looks like the timeline, it could be that gets extended out on toward the evening commute as well. Here in the gardens, I tell you, in the shade, it's okay, but it is starting to feel a little hotter. It's 77 right now, and the dew point 67, so it's real sticky out here. 75 in Apex, 74 in Cary, and Knightdale, 77 in Clayton right now. We'll be close to 90 degrees for the high temperature this afternoon, but with all the humidity, it'll feel hotter than that. Looking at steamy today as well as Wednesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Friday, we're up there at tropical. It's going to feel the hottest Thursday and Friday. Heat index of 94 Thursday and 97 on Friday. So summer is here, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So tonight and early tomorrow, we have the chance of scattered storms, and then that chance ramps up again for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And before we go to break, here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers. And of course, we'll get you another check on weather and traffic in just a bit.